Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the MAG Z890 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. This motherboard, I find, from the ones that I've been looking at, is probably the best price to feature motherboard that I could find. It was a toss-up between this and the Gigabyte Aorus Elite, but in the end this one had extra I/O that I was looking for on the back. Namely, it has two Thunderbolt 4 ports and one USB-C port, whereas the Aorus Elite had only one Thunderbolt 4 port. So that was kind of the tiebreaker for me. Now, these are by far not cheap motherboards. However, for that, high-end mid-tier range motherboard, I found this one offered the best value for what I was looking for. So we're going to take a look at everything that comes on the motherboard, and you can make that decision for yourself if this is the motherboard for you. Let's take a look at inside. I have a box here on the top. What comes in that? We got the Wi-Fi antenna. Of course, we got the motherboard. What else? It looks like a riser screw for M.2 drive. We have, not sure what these are. We'll look at the manual, figure that out. And we got a few things here. Another M.2 riser. We got a couple of different cables. I'm not 100% sure what they're, nope, not those ones. These two, I'm not 100% sure what they're for, so we'll take a look at that. We got a couple of SATA cables. We got stickers for some reason. I don't know what necessarily those are meant to be for. Got some badges and stuff as well to put on the back or on your case if you want. A USB drive. I don't know what's on there, if that's just blank. Got a quick installation manual. No detailed manual, unfortunately. What else we got here? We got some kind of key. Yeah, so I've got lots of things I need to figure out what they're actually for. Let's say what those extra cables are for. So the quick installation guide does not tell me what any of these additional cables are for, or what the USB drive or this key thing is for. So we're gonna have to download the detailed manual and figure that out. European Union regulations. I miss the days when you actually get a physical manual inside your motherboard. So this one is a 1 to 3 easy connect cable, and it's kind of odd. So this connects to the motherboard. Then we have a USB front header. It's saying USB 2.0 front header, ARGB connector, and a PMW fan connector. So that's an interesting cable design. I have not seen this before, so I don't know if this is new to the latest motherboards, but that looks pretty interesting. And we also have a easy connector for front I/O. You can plug it all in here. Each individual cables that come on your motherboard, or sorry, on your case, and then that just connects right into your motherboard, and you don't have to dig around trying to figure out where to put the plus minus power button and different LEDs. So that's kind of nice. Then this is not a key, it's a screw on for the M.2 riser screws. And this says there's an ISO file on here, but it's not telling me what it's for. So there you have it. So those are the little things that you get inside the box. Now let's unbox this and take a look at the actual motherboard. So the motherboard is a 6-layer PCB with 2 ounces of copper, which is expected for a mid-range motherboard. It has a 16 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 90 amp VRM, which should provide stable power and should be good for overclocking. The VRMs, as you can see, have two thick heatsinks covering it, so it should keep them nice and cool. And there are 4 DDR5 DIMM slots supporting up to 9200 megatransfers. So there are 3 PCIe 16 slots. 2 of them are Gen 4, with the top one being Gen 5, and it is reinforced for extra stability for your GPU. There's also an easy release button, which makes it easier to remove your GPU. And at the bottom of the motherboard right here is an additional PCIe power connector to provide additional power to the 3 PCIe slots. There are 4 M.2 slots. The top one is PCIe Gen 5, with the remainder being Gen 4. They are all covered by fairly thick heat sinks with thermal pads, and they have easy connector buttons right here that you just push in and they come right off. And there's a thermal pad, so this one comes off like that. This one has 2, and it's an easy connector, comes right off. This one I'm not going to bother unscrewing, but there's a 4th one under here, and you have to unscrew it. Another nice thing about this motherboard, you don't have to worry about screwing down the NVMe drives. They all have these easy connector buttons right here that you just have to slide and they clip into place. And if that's not enough, there are 4 SATA connectors right here. Due to the size of the heat sinks, the CPU power connectors over on this side, which I kind of like, it makes it easier to access when plugging in the power. Over in this corner, after you get if you have an AIO and you get that in, it's not a lot of room to work with, especially in smaller cases. We have easy debug lights and an easy debug display. That way we can get a postcode, which makes it easier to read what the issue is. Another nice feature about this motherboard, it comes with, most motherboards do come with a USB-C front I/O connector, but this one has a 27 watt fast charge to it. I don't know if this still works when the PC is shut off. It comes with 3 ARGB connectors here at the bottom. There are 6 case fan connectors in various locations across the motherboard. We have the CPU connector right here, CPU fan connector, the pump connector. On the back, there are 2 Thunderbolt 4 connectors and an HDMI output that connects to the integrated graphics off the CPU. Along with that, the RAM, the PCIe Gen 5 slot, and the PCIe Gen 5 M.2 slot all connect to the CPU directly. All the remaining connectors, LAN, Wi-Fi, the rest of the back I/O, the SATA ports, all the rest of the connectors, the 3 other Gen 4 M.2 slots, the 2 PCI 16 slots, all connect to the chipset, and that chipset connects to the CPU with 8 PCIe lanes. So because all of that has to share those 8 PCIe lanes, there is the possibility that there could be a bottleneck there, and some of that data transfer speed could slow down. So one of the things I like about slightly more higher end motherboards is it comes with the integrated I/O shield. You don't have to fiddle around with the flimsy I/O shield that comes around with cheaper motherboards. So as you can see on the back, the I/O here is really good. You have the HDMI that connects to the CPU. If you have a GPU, this is not the HDMI to use. Use the HDMI or DisplayPort on the GPU. We get 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports, 1 USB-C 10 gigabit port. There are 3 USB Type A 10 gigabit ports and 4 USB Type A 5 gigabit ports. We have the flash BIOS button and the clear CMOS button. The LAN is Intel Killer E5000 5 gigabit LAN. It also has Intel Killer BE1750X Wi-Fi, and it supports up to 2.4 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, and 6 gigahertz, up to 5.8 gigabit per second, and it has Bluetooth 5.4. And down here at the bottom, we have optical and analog audio connectors. So as you can see, this motherboard comes with a number of different features and I/O that kind of justify the premium that you're paying for it. Yes, there are cheaper motherboards, but it's kind of nice having those extra M.2 slots, the extra I/O in the back, the all the different easy clips just to make your life a little bit easier.